Hello, everybody. I'd like to go ahead and get started with our second half of our users group. This second half, going from now until approximately about 4 o'clock, is for our our new building point customers, and covering topics that are relevant to them. Thank you for coming. This is our 30th annual users group. However, this is our first users group for the BuildingPoint group. And so our maiden voyage, and hopefully we will be sharing some information through this BuildingPoint portion that is valuable, and some procedures and functionalities that you'll be able to add into your daily processes. We have some good presenters lined up. Let me just go over the agenda very briefly. Initially, we'll have a keynote address about some industry future, kind of like some futuristic industry, basically directions that Trimble is looking at and that you need to consider as a user. After that, we'll go into some 3D scanning workflows with some of the Trimble scanning offerings. Those two presenters will be from Trimble. Our keynote presenter is Stephanie Michaud, and Steve Ostrowski will be presenting on some of the LiDAR workflows. We'll then have a break, after which I'll present a little bit on some aspects of the Utah VRS system as a correction service for your GPS use. Following that, one of our colleagues, Mike McCarrick, will be presenting on some unified products that we have, the Tiny Mobile Robot and the Emescent Slam Scanner. Following that, we have a couple of end user presentations. These are the ones I'm very excited about. Yeti Welding will be presenting on using point clouds and Trimble SketchUp. And then Emmett Cannon with Cache Valley Electric will be presenting on a couple of projects that he has been involved in when he's had to use some pretty interesting innovations on how he was able to facilitate those jobs. Following that, and finally, our final presentation will be about the new Trimble T110 tablet and Trimble FieldLink, in which our rep, John Santangelo, along with Amy Shirk from Trimble, will be presenting. So that's a brief rundown of the agenda. After each presentation, we'll have a couple of quiz questions about that presentation. And you want to definitely be a part of those questions because after each one of those, we will be selecting from the respondents who will be giving our raffle prize giveaways. And we will have giveaways after each presentation. So make sure that you're a part of that. Just a quick safety share. Make sure that you are aware of your nearest emergency exits, and also make sure that you take some time in our breaks to stand up, stretch, and so everybody can be alert for these presentations. We will be offering continuing education credits for attending this. If you need continuing ed, and this will be approximately about 4 hours of continuing ed, please reach out to myself or Emily, who you should have seen some emails from. If you would like to have a continuing ed certificate, we'll make that available to you. This presentation is being recorded, and we'll make this available to all the attendees. So if you miss out on a presentation, you'll still have access to it. Please enter into the chat if you have any questions along the way. This is a users group, and so we want you to be involved. We want to hear from you, and we will try to answer those questions in real time and or at the end of each presentation. So your mics are probably muted, but you can participate through the chat window. Okay, I believe that that's everything on the intros. I want to give thanks also to my colleague, Emily Chamberlain. She is the technical expert behind these meetings. And the last meeting that we had a major technical challenge, and she was able to navigate that pretty amazingly. So hopefully we won't have any technical issues this go around. Um, it seems like there's always a couple curveballs, and so thanks you though for being here and dealing with those as they come along. All right, let's go ahead and move right into the users group. Stephanie, if you're there.
Hey Troy, I am. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, ma'am, I can. Thank you
All
for
right.
being there. Thank you for coming back.
You bet.
Um, Stephanie, let me just give you a quick intro to our presenters. Stephanie is the Director of Product Management, Field Software for the Field Systems sector of Trimble. She is responsible for activities related to product strategy, development, and execution of new product introductions, spanning survey and the vertical construction portfolio. During her 15 years at Trimble, she's also held technical roles in the land administration and ag groups. Stephanie has recently been appointed as a Trimble rep on the World Geospatial Industry Council and holds a degree in geomatics engineering from the University of Calgary in Canada. Thanks for being here, Stephanie. She's going to be talking to us about navigating the future, some key insights that the Trimble team has taken and are focusing on as we move into the future. So with that, Stephanie, I'll go ahead and turn the time over to you.
Awesome. Thanks, Troy. And thanks, everyone. Good afternoon and welcome to the user group. I understand this is the inaugural one, so hopefully I can meet your expectations for this and for this introductory keynote. I'm really excited to share this short presentation with you guys today. When Troy asked me to prepare thoughts around, what is Trimble looking for? What are trends? What are insights that we could pass on to our customers? I'm used to looking at these things in the form of articles, spreadsheets, data sources, PDFs, etc. And so sometimes it's a nice exercise to try and pull it all into a concise format. And so I hope you enjoy this as much as I did in preparing it for you today. So what will I be talking about to give you a lens into what we look at Trimble, but also what's impacting our industry? I'll start by just talking about some key drivers and what I see as the 2026 landscape, important for this year, but also really the coming years and how I see that changing. And of course, our industry faces some challenges. And so I've highlighted two right here, specifically to personnel, but also to digital transformation that I'll talk about the challenge, but also the opportunity in meeting those challenges in order to prepare ourselves for the next couple of years. And then with that, the challenges, like I said, there are opportunities for us. And again, a couple critical areas that Trimble, but also our customers. And I'm really nice to see here in the agenda that you guys have a good reflection of some customers already tackling some of these challenges and making use of these opportunities. So it'll be a good preface from a high level of the technology that's available to take advantage. And then finally, I'll just close with some recommendations as to what would be a good way to get started and to hop into these trends and prepare yourself for the year ahead. And of course, January is always a good time to think about what you can be doing and how you can strategically prepare. So it's great to be a part of this at the top of the year. Okay, so getting into what is shaping our industry, some of the major trends that we have been seeing, but also will continue into 2026, really focus on kind of these top three here that I put together. So increasingly, we see a demand for faster processes, specifically in data analysis, but also to decision making. So getting to that deliverable faster. We are used to, in our personal lives, from a consumer standpoint, getting things really quickly. And so why shouldn't that translate into the professional context? We're no longer happy with just kind of waiting around. And so now we get to the point where in order to achieve a faster analysis, we need to step up the systems that support the work that we're doing. Also, we're seeing more distributed teams and multiple team members contributing to projects, whether it be on-site, in office, distributed across multiple offices and locations, demanding collaboration, but also the ease of data sharing across those different teams. So whether you're an engineer on site or you're the project coordinator and managing GCs, you need to be able to have your information across all of those different team members. And so cloud solutions continue to be coming up as a method of how we can solve some of those challenges. And the third one here, so we used to be familiar with point, line, area, discrete point data capture, and that has been kind of the standard in the industry for quite some time. But increasingly, with the technologies available, we really have an opportunity for much faster real-world data collection through reality capture technologies. So that's really changing the landscape around how quickly we can capture and visualize a real life scene. And what are the things driving those? Well, I already talked about real time and immediacy is expected. It's no longer acceptable to be waiting for your information. We're used to kind of refreshing, and within seconds you have that update. So that's definitely driving that demand for information. But especially our technologies have improved to the point where not only is it available, it's now more capable and it's more affordable. So what was historically an investment that would take years to pay back is now available in smaller form factors or even like mobile form factors that can get your foot in the door sooner. And that's especially on the reality capture side as well. We're seeing that trend. And with the capacity and the amount of data that we're capturing now, the volume and the complexity, we're not talking about megabytes on a USB stick. We're talking about gigabytes and petabytes, terabytes. The volumes just keep increasing. And so for one person to be able to review all of that information, that requires a level of an analysis and tools in order to perform and understand what we're looking at and get to deliverables. So the complexity is certainly elevated as a result of the tools also changing. So what does that mean for us in the path forward? In order to capitalize on these trends, look at these drivers and how they're shaping it, we need to look at building our skills and increasing our ability to adapt and work with digital technology. And that means investing in training, and also understanding what this new technology can do for us. And in assessing how we're used to working, that might also mean changing the way we work also. But the good news is that our industry is really ready for a transformation. And you'll see in this presentation, I've pulled from a couple of different data sets, both from a global scale or more regional, and then also even locally within Trimble. But this first stat here comes from the World Economic Forum, specifically on building construction industry, around that the current skill requirements in our industry, about 44% are likely to evolve over the next 5 years. So that means how we're doing work today is going to be changing. We're going to need to have new skills in order to do that, which is certainly an investment for us in order to be ready for what those skills might be. The good news is that if we're ready to make that investment, it will certainly be worth our while. And, I put here the geospatial opportunity because when I'm talking about geospatial in this context and for this audience, I'm talking about geospatial data. It serves as the foundation for all of our infrastructure and building projects that we're doing. All of that construction work that needs to be done starts with that foundational knowledge, which, you are experts in and leveraging. And so if you're investing in learning new skills, building your team up to rise to this opportunity, there is a significant financial gain to be had here with that industry, our industry looking to see over $1 trillion here in 2030. So we are really at the forefront of making a significant economical impact to the way we do work today. So let's talk about some of these challenges that I hinted at kind of in the first slide. So the first one being personnel shortages. And in the United States alone, 41% of our construction workforce is expected to retire by 2031. So we know that we have an increasing wave of retirements. We need to be thinking about succession planning for those people in our industry, but also be thinking about how can we ensure that new people coming into our industry are also arriving with the correct skills. And so really the opportunity and the prediction that Trimble has been banking on is also highlighting the need on being more proactive with our training initiatives and working with companies to develop programs to upskill and prepare yourself for what's new and what's coming. So filling that, what are those 44% of skills that need to change? And, being here today is a great first step in learning more about what you could be doing, understanding and investigating new technologies, learning from your peers through their experiences. That's all part of building and highlighting the skills that are needed in order to go into the next couple of years. And one of the insights from some of the reports that we've looked at was that a lot of our staff who are here, 58% of the construction workforce, value the opportunity to pursue for future training, education, or credentialing. So not only is this investment that we as a industry professionals need to make important for our future and continued success, but our employees are looking for that as well for their own satisfaction. So it's a great twinning and opportunity to prioritize training and skills development so that we can begin bridging the gap. Another aspect or challenge that we see here is also digital transformation and the resistance to that change. I mean, we all know change is hard, right? It takes a while. It's reassessing and looking in the mirror and determining what I got today that got me here might not be what I need to go forward. And so trying to adjust and change our habits is hard. But increasingly, on the digital side, this is an important aspect and step we need to take because, our profession is rooted in the tactile and the things on the ground. We're used to, being able to see and visualize things from a pen and paper or blueprint standpoint. And now increasingly our tools allow us to do and simulate that digitally. And the opportunity to do so means that we have to change our ways, but increasingly we're also being forced to do that through different regulatory requirements. Many different municipalities or state governments, or even on a federal level, now have incentives for digital technologies. And at Trimble, one of our big missions that we like to state is talking about moving physical to digital, right? So capturing that digital representation of the physical world. That is now increasingly a requirement for our industry. And so being able to meet that challenge head on, start shifting our mindset to gradually start adopting these, whether it be just from a field to office workflow or using a cloud service for sharing your data, can be a really great way to start embracing digital solutions. And while 34% of construction businesses report that they are lacking in budget to invest in new technologies, those that do see the return from revenue, but also an ability to turn projects around. So the statistics show that if you're willing to make that investment, the payoff is certainly there, especially in the context of these workflows. So with those challenges bring the opportunities. And so some opportunities that it sounds like from the agenda you guys have prepared today, you'll get to dig in a little bit more into what those might be and from real customer examples. But I'll talk from a high level about what we see at Trimble as being expanding opportunities. And in particular, the first one being reality capture data. So just like I talked about the technology suddenly becoming much more accessible and affordable, this is a big area where we are seeing in the SLAM and terrestrial laser scanning, it's really changing how spatial data is captured and collected and recorded. And so we are going to continue to see dense information provided in a data capture context that will require more analysis on the office side of things. So the capture is still important and we will still have a need for in-field tools and analysis, but also working with that. And, I think the general conversation these days is also a lot about, well, how can we use artificial intelligence and AI? How can that help our day to day, or how will that impact me? AI is really a tool in this context when we think about what do we do with all these large volumes of data that come from a reality capture solution to begin to be able to process that and make it more effective. So there's really an opportunity and an action here in that, looking at investing in, if you haven't already, laser scanning or SLAM type technologies in your business. Maybe there are areas where you could streamline data collection by moving away from more of the discrete point and into more of this scene capture, as I like to think of it, where you're scanning and adding photorealistic images on top of that. In fact, in some of our customer surveys that we just completed last year, we found that 44% of our respondents were actually, that was the one type of surveying they wanted to do and spend more time doing, was specifically with 3D laser scanning. The other opportunity we see is the role of cloud solutions. So as we have the desire to have more real-time data, to have it be accessible, current, secure, across many dispersed teams, cloud solutions become the opportunity in order to integrate those various sites, people, but also the tools and systems. It's no longer enough to just export into a discrete file format. You need to have and send data in a complex package so you don't lose the information between project phases or between field and office or between different tools. So preserving that high level of integrity of information is really critical. So we anticipate higher reliance on cloud solutions for data management, but also for project collaboration. So being able to determine who on a project site has access to what information. How regular do different teams get updates? Are some able to correspond and provide, whether it's tagging specific issues that they find on site and reporting it back to the office. Those are the type of field to office to field workflows that we're continuing to see more demand and increased context in terms of what's being shared. I'm not just talking about text, I'm talking about photos, location, maybe even scan information associated with that type of reporting. So it is really an opportunity, especially from a connecting workflow standpoint, to facilitate that real-time collaboration. And I think this is a great opportunity to also improve what I like to think of as that field to office round tripping of information. Because if you know in the field that you've captured everything that you needed to or were assigned for, and office gives you that confirmation, then that's one less trip you have to go out for a repeat visit. So quality assurance and quality control can significantly be improved by having that interaction between field and office. And we know that increasingly, even though a lot of our customer sites might be in a disconnected scenario, more and more, most of the work we do has somewhat of a connected environment, at least a portion of the time, to able to facilitate that as well. So a couple of industry predictions or trends, and I want to dive into some of these things because I feel like these are often like buzzwords or topics that you might hear in industry. But the way that I look at it, and I'm representing Trimble today, so like I'll talk about from a Trimble standpoint, how we think about it as well, is that there's a lot of conversation about AI and applications and how they're going to play a more significant role. I want to emphasize that AI is just another tool in our technology toolbox that we have, and it still requires a discerning individual to understand how to apply it or to provide parameters and bounds upon which to work and provide quality results, right? So, we look at AI at Trimble and build tools using AI into our software and hardware packages in order to support with data analysis and decision making for then a human interaction to make the final decision and call. So what we've seen and how we've incorporated that recently have been in things like automating repetitive tasks to reduce the likelihood of human error. So if you think of a large data set from a mobile mapping campaign where you've scanned thousands of kilometers of road and you're looking to do inventory on, say, all the signposts, Is it the best use of your time as a qualified geospatial professional to look at those individual signposts and determine each one of those? It's probably better for you to be looking at an inventory after that they have been automatically detected and extracted from that data set, and then determining which ones need replacement or are completely missing. So this is the type of thing that we're looking from an automation standpoint to support. And so you'll see some of our applications continuing to incorporate that level of automation for quality control, but then also to expand into things like feature extraction, classification of what you're looking at change detection and see what's changed between scans. For example, I know that what's also a really popular use case is looking at earth moving and how stockpiles have moved and changed. So change detection between, say, multiple UAV flights, but then also on the modeling side as well. So if you are modeling pipe and it's of a specific diameter, and you know you have to model that same pipe in a scan over multiple rooms and floors, there's maybe an opportunity to automate some of that, and then you can inspect it after the fact. So there's a lot of tools that there's a lot of ways that AI can enhance, but by no means is it replacing the work we do. It's simply giving us the opportunity to have our capacity diverted or focused more on the tasks that require more specific judgment. And an advancement that is important and dear to me as a product management director of field software in particular, when I think about how we're enabling and meeting some of these challenges in the industry today, especially when I think about resistance to adopting new challenges, and then also personnel training. The software is really the portal and the window through which we experience innovation. And so what my team in particular has been focusing a lot on is around ease of use and the user experience. So is it intuitive? Is it the way you want to work? Is it quick for you to get to work? You're not messing around with settings. Is it remembering the settings that you set before, the instrument you connected to before? These are some of the things that software can do to really make it easier to train new people who are coming on board, but also give you a better experience when you're working with new technology. We can, as Trimble, come up with the most incredible laser scanner or the most advanced GNSS with tilt, but if you can't figure out how to use the tilt compensation in your measurement or turn on your scan and scan at a particular density for that area, then the tools are really not working for you, they're working against you. So software plays a really critical role of making sure that, we are able to give you the right experience of the innovative tools. And that's something that Trimble is very committed to, so that as you bring new people and you yourself take these steps toward advancing your abilities in the industry, we're providing you with the knowledge and skills and the interface to help you leverage that accordingly. So some recommendations based on kind of this short chat here I've prepared for you to stay competitive and to capitalize on the opportunity in the industry right now. Number one, prioritizing training and skill development. So seeking those opportunities like today to learn and build more proficiency, or to investigate what others are doing and peers in order to help facilitate what might be a new opportunity for you to pursue is number one. And then two, cloud solutions, and leveraging those to understand how can you embrace digital workflows to reduce siloed data. So rather than keeping it only within, say, one primary person who's distributing everything, can we democratize that a little bit in order to optimize the usage across multiple teams in our organizations? So number three, expanding reality capture usage. There are likely projects that you're bidding on or have bid on that could have benefited from reality capture as a tool for capturing the initial foundational digital model that you will use later on or deliver. So there's likely an opportunity to use that type of data capture, and the formats and forms of which you can do that, we have increasingly different form factors depending on your need and requirements. And then finally, number 4, investigating the use of automation in your business as well. So determining, are there some repetitive tasks that could be automated, maybe to improve accuracy, but more importantly, to free up your mind share to focus on the more specific tasks that require more mental capacity and more knowledge in order to execute and determine a path forward. So this could be using AI, and it could be a simple tweak, but it could also be leveraging some of the enhancements we have in our products as well. So to wrap up for my quick keynote here today, I think our industry is on the cusp of a big transformation with a lot of the technology that we're bringing. But I do think that there's a huge opportunity, and we're really in a good position, and starting from today and through this year, to seize those challenges and turn them into opportunities. So I think our future is quite bright. And thank you so much for listening today. I hope you enjoy the rest of the sessions, and I hope this also provides a nice framework and lens for you to consider the following sessions and the opportunity they provide for you. If you have questions or comments, happy to take those, or you can send me an email separately.